All right, students, here is the graphic organizer for the political machines. We've finished the reading, and here we go. Okay, political machines. Here is a definition. A political organization in which a person or small group with authority that has enough votes or is popular enough to have control over city, county, or state governments. Now remember, you can pause the video any time to allow yourself more time to take notes. Okay, so as we already read the article of what was William Tweed Boss. As you were reading, you should have probably been thinking, well, wow, a lot of it's corrupt. It's mostly corrupt. It's like a lot of things that shouldn't be happening. But at the same time, it seemed like they were doing good things by providing services. Okay, and so which is it more? I mean, is it corrupt because they're basically stealing the popular sovereignty from new immigrants and doing kickbacks and bribes? But they also provide services such as helping people find a home, helping new immigrants find a job. And but of course, these immigrants had to vote for who they told them to, and that's wrong. And also give up part of their paycheck, which is wrong. Okay, so anyway, let's go ahead and do the graphic organizer, and let me explain why it's designed the way it is. Let me give it some more room here. Okay, so all right. So as you can see. There's all these different arrows, and the reason why it's designed this way is so that you can see that it works like a machine. Okay, so you've got a moving part here, which is the relationship between criminals, businesses, and the boss. Okay, Boss Tweed, for example. Here's like a moving part on a machine between the relationship of bosses and the elected officials, and here is a moving part that's showing the relationship between the boss, the district captain or ward boss, and the voters. So a machine is basically, has moving parts. And so that's why that kind of makes sense out of it being a machine, because it's about relationships. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Here's my pen. Here it is. Okay. All right, so all right, so let's start off with let's talk about let's talk about this part first, the relationship between bosses and elected officials. Okay, so what does the boss provide the elected officials, and what does the elected officials give back to the boss? Okay, so first of all, the bosses is going to be, they go down to the port and they gather new immigrants, and they provide them, a home, and they provide them a job, and so they have to vote for who they say. So the boss says, if you want to be elected, I can help you out. So they actually, the bosses are really in charge of nominating. If you want to be nominated, so they're in charge of nomination, which is who's going to be on the ballot. If you want to be on the ballot, you're going to have to be in good with the boss, because he's controlling votes. So nomination, of course, the money for elections, and the votes. Okay, because they have worked out that they're in charge. They really have gained a lot of power over people's voting. Okay, so these voters have to vote for who they tell them to. So if this elected official wants to be nominated, and the money for election and the votes, he's going to have to work with the boss and what he wants. What ends up happening is the boss gets this elected officials voted in, and in return, the elected officials have to give government jobs, because see, these jobs are going to be given to the voters, who are under the control of the boss. So these government jobs, contracts, okay, government contracts, and so forth, okay? So he's also going to have to, the elected officials are going to have to give the boss special treatment, you know, to make sure that the boss is not going to get in trouble. There's no one going to be breathing down his neck, all right? So there is the first moving part. The boss is going to nominate, provide money for elections and voters for the elected officials. You can't even get on the ballot without the boss. And in return, he's going to provide government jobs for those voters that he is controlling, contracts for city contracts for businesses to try to grab a hold of, and of course the boss is going to get kickbacks from those contracts and special treatment. Okay? All right, now let's go to this part of the machine, the relationship between bosses and businesses and criminals. Okay? So what does the boss provide businesses and criminals? Okay, so the boss is going to get the criminals out of jail. So they will bail out criminals out of jail. Of course, it's going to be strings attached. Okay. They're going to provide business. Remember these city contracts over here? So they're going to provide the contracts to the businesses, okay, and protection. Okay, so if you're playing the game, you're going to be protected by the boss. So you're going to be protected from his system. So once you're playing, the boss's good side, you're going to be your business will be protected. Okay, and so when they bail out the criminals, what are they going to want for the criminals? Well, what's going to happen is the criminals are going to be they're going to help on election day. They're going to grab people off the streets that's under the control of the boss and make sure that they're voting. And remember from the video that you saw, they would vote multiple times. These people men would have their beard shaved. At first it would be go vote with the beard on, then you go vote with the mustache, and then you go vote with a clean face, and you go vote multiple times. So the criminals would make sure to help out with that. All right, and also to enforce. They're the enforcers. So if you don't play the game right, they're going to be the ones that will go and beat people up, force them to play the game right. Okay, and then businesses are going to give kickbacks from those contracts that they've received. So this is how the boss makes money. Okay, so notice that the boss is getting money this way and getting things that have value this way also, okay? So in a sense, he's still getting money. He's getting money. He's getting money. So each arrow that hits the boss, there's money involved, okay? All right, now let's talk about the big cycle between the boss and the community, okay? All right, so the boss's relationship to the district captain or ward boss. What does he have to give these ward bosses and district captains in order to maintain control? Well, he's going to have to give the district captain or the ward boss, he's going to have to give them easy government jobs to hand out. Okay, to pass out to the community. He's going to give that to him. He's going to give him power and influence. Now remember, these ward captains, ward bosses, they know their neighborhood very well. They know the people, and he's providing them things, providing them a lawyer when they're in trouble, a turkey for Thanksgiving, all these little bribes. And when it comes to election day, it's like, don't forget who you're supposed to vote for, because the boss will definitely tell you who you're supposed to vote for. Okay, and so influence in the neighborhood. Okay, and of course money. Okay, there's always money involved because he needs to distribute the money. The district captain or the ward boss is going to need money to help pay for those bribes to the voters. Okay, so what's the ward captain or the district captain or the ward boss going to provide the voters? He's going to provide them what? Think about it just a moment. First of all, jobs, more than likely factory jobs. Okay, immigrants couldn't speak English, but they could learn factory jobs if he's shown what to do. Okay, so jobs, housing. What kind of housing? Remember, it's tenement housing. Okay, those brick buildings that are a few stories tall, very crowded, small rooms. Okay, provide them housing. Sometimes people need food, medicine, legal services. So this is going back to are they corrupt or are they good for the community because they provide services? So these services were not being provided by city governments at the time. So there was no job agencies or housing authority that would help out with housing issues. So these political machines kind of filled that niche. Okay? Okay, so the voters, now so once they get these things from the ward captain, the voters have got to give something back to the boss. What do they give back? Think about that for a moment. Well, first of all, loyalty. And, which equals voting for who the boss says to. And also, it's like, playing the game and being part of, not causing any waves, being loyal, okay? And, of course, they have to give money from their paychecks. He's going to want money from paychecks because he helped you get that job. He helped you get that tenement house, apartment house. And you got to promise to vote. You got to vote for who the boss says to. And of course, the candidates are chosen by the boss. Okay, so nominations. Okay, all right. So as you can see, once again, you got money coming back. You got money coming back. You got money coming back. So all parts of this political machine is bringing money back to the boss man. Okay, so this is the most famous one here. What was his name? If you're thinking Boss Tweed, you are correct. Okay, New York City. The name of the government building that he built, Tammany Hall. And you know that there was a lot of corruption in building facilities, kickbacks, and overspending, overcharging. And we saw all that in our reading. And we have, who's the cartoonist? We got to remember that the cartoonist is important too. Remember, political cartoons were important because new immigrants couldn't speak English, but they could understand a drawing. Okay, so the cartoonist, political cartoon, and the artist is Thomas Nast. And he's exposing political corruption through cartoons. And we're going to learn more from the Progressive Era that this is a form of journalism, and journalism that exposes corruption. They're going to be called muckrakers. Okay, it could be through photographs, drawings, articles in the magazines and newspapers. And today we have it, of course, on the internet, TV, radio. All right, so that's the political cartoonist, Thomas Nast. All right. So that is your graphic organizer. That concludes our political machine lesson. Thank you for watching.